Hello, wherever you may be across the desert or across the street. Welcome to another exciting episode of Overcoming Addiction Through Secular Means. So, today I wanted to talk to you about actually implementing a strategy. Now, before you do anything in life, you need a plan. It's always very important to plan ahead. Not everyone is very good at decision making, so that's one of the reasons that a lot of time people will inquire about others' subjective opinions. And I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and share with you my personal strategy, the things that I've been implementing in order to overcome my addiction. Now, keep in mind that uh, don't be afraid if your blood pressure spikes in the initial days of smoking cessation. That is a natural response. It's your body readjusting and recalibrating. You're coming back online because for the all the years before that you've been, self-medicating and bombarding your mind with dopamine, and overstimulating your cannabinoid receptors. You haven't really been facing, you haven't really been living 100% in reality. You haven't really been experiencing the moment. Once you come off it, you become more in tune with reality. And it's actually, sometimes they say that truth is stranger than fiction. One of the reasons that religion is so popular is because people crave fiction, they crave escapism. And you'll soon realize as you get older, the sooner you realize this, the better. But I like I like to educate people to save them time, but unfortunately sometimes it doesn't work that way. But there is no other feeling, there is no better feeling than being completely in tune with your emotions and your physical body, where you sort of become one, where you are no longer a passenger inside your body. uh, Now you are in full control. So let's go ahead and go over my strategies. First off, a nutrition plan. Um, in the first initial days of smoking cessation, or in the first initial months, especially if you have CHS. Now, we've already gone over what cannabis hyperemesis syndrome is, and it's in two stages. Um, the first stage is irregularities in the heart and the chest, and the second stage is basically just vomiting. Now, I've been very lucky that I've been sort of on the edge. I've never got to the second stage, but I've heard a lot of anecdotes, and the second stage is just completely horrible. I never want to experience it, and I don't wish it on anyone. Basically, the second stage um, is almost on the borderline of death. It could be very fatal you if you don't address it and you continue to smoke. The only cure is ceasing to smoke, and that's what we're here to talk about today. But before I get into the strategies, I know I keep derailing. Before I get into the strategies, I want to talk about a nutrition plan. Now, I have noticed that as long as I maintain a very low sodium diet, things like salmon, white rice, broccoli, toasted bread with a light, maybe a hint of butter, and that's whenever I'll like want to treat myself out. I'll do a little bit of toast with butter. Orange juice, especially the Minute Maid orange juice. I think I want to say that's like the gold standard of orange juices is the Minute Maid one. It's the one I prefer. They're probably all the same. I've noticed that's the one that has the most potassium. What else? Water. Stay keep stay very hydrated. Don't avoid alcohol. I made the mistake in the beginning, and you'll see it in my initial videos where I talk about you sort of using alcohol as a medicine, and that's completely foolish. Avoid alcohol. Don't stick. Now keep in mind these are my personal strategies, so I guess take it with a grain of salt. Okay, so now that we have new, oh yeah, boiled chicken is fine. Baked potatoes. I don't know why lately I've noticed that potatoes they have a really bad reputation. Some people say that they make you gain weight. I think that's just ridiculous. I don't. I mean, I love potatoes. I don't know, like I don't see anything wrong with potatoes, but for some reason, potatoes are like the bad guy in vegetables. I don't understand that, but that's just how people feel about them. Okay, so the strategies, the things that I do. The number one, before you even, like I said, you have to have a plan. Before you start implementing these strategies, find purpose. Now, that's actually a very it sounds simple, but it's actually a very complex thing to do, to discover purpose, and it takes time. Some people may never find it. Some people may live their whole lives and they'll never they'll never find it. It's life is a quest, but find purpose. Right now, my purpose is to pass my insurance salesman license. I think that's what the property and casualty license. That's what I'm focused on. I'm trying to become a car insurance salesman. I mean, it might sound mundane, but it's something. It's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm sticking to it. When I first heard of it, see, the thing is, I actually took my test twice and I failed it, but I was discovering that I'm not alone. That the test is actually very hard, and a lot of people fail it several times. But in the end, if I succeed, that's all that matters. So it's very important to find purpose. Another thing too, I think it's pretty much common sense, unless you're a very strong-willed individual, to like stay away from those who smoke. I mean, I feel like that's a given. Uh, there's you don't want to be easily influenced or manipulated, or usually I'm 37 years old, but I've noticed that younger people are easily impressed, and I don't know what it is. Maybe their mind's not as fully developed, but that's just the way it is. So another thing too, another strategy that I want to recommend is I don't. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about meditation. I've avoided talking about meditation since I started the channel, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it after I talk about this breathing technique. It's not meditation, but it's in the ballpark. Um, Whenever, and now if you suffer from panic attacks or if you have high anxiety, there's this technique, and I actually learned it from Chat GPT, and it's great if you have a narrator, if you have somebody telling you these instructions. What works too is you can record your voice giving you the instructions. For some reason, this seems to calm me down, and I have 3 years doing this. This is not my first attempt at quitting. Oh, I'm 29 days sober, by the way. Um, this is not my first time doing it, and I hate that I'm barely learning about this now. But basically, when you're in the middle of a panic attack, the best thing to do is either sit down or lie down. Now, what you do is you're going to inhale for about 6 seconds. You're gonna hold your breath for another 6 to 7 seconds, then exhale. When you do this, your parasympathetic system, which is a calming system, takes over and you naturally begin to relax. Now I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate. This is how it's done. So you inhale, then exhale. And as you're doing this, take your time to look around and absorb your surroundings. Identify things in your proximity. It could be anything. It may be a ball cap hanging on your wall. Um, Maybe you have a figurine collection of some kind. The colors, certain hues, or maybe you have some artwork on the wall. Notice the contours of the characters or the design. So that's the breathing technique. I'm gonna run it by you one more time, and I'm gonna try to do it just right. I You have to inhale for 5 to 6 seconds, hold your breath for another 7 seconds, and then exhale. So okay, now I want to talk about meditation. Now, I am not an instructor of any kind. I'm actually a disciple myself of meditation. When I first started doing meditation, I thought it was some kind of gimmick. I thought it was. I'm not a very spiritual person. In fact, I'm completely against spirituality. But I have noticed that meditation seems to have a lot of positive effects on the physical body. Um, what you do during the first times that I was trying to do meditation, I started off very slow, baby steps. I would manage to do 2 to 3 minutes at a time. Now I'm able to do meditation sessions for at least 10 minutes. So, what you do during meditation, you want to find a dry, sort of like a quiet, dry area. Um, you want to avoid sitting flat on the ground because it seems to take its toll on the spine. Usually, what I do is I use a stone or a small brick, sort of like those stones, or an actual brick that the stepping stones they use in home gardens, or like a brick that's used in masonry. So you sit on the brick, which I feel like a brick is pretty strong and firm, and it's able to sustain yourself, and you're able to sort of sit with your back straight and your abdomen sort of in. And as you're sitting there, now there's different ways of meditation. There's transcendental meditation. That's one of them. I don't know all of them. Uh, I do two different types of meditation. One type of meditation, I try to completely empty my mind and just focus on the air that's circulating through my nose and coming out through my mouth. A different type of meditation, while you inhale, what any ideas that pop into your head, you let them run, and you let the idea go as it comes. Like tears in the rain, or a fart in the wind. Anyways, like, now I have noticed that what do you do with your hands? Usually, I put my hands flat down on my knees. Some people meditate with their palms up. I've noticed that Hindus meditate with their hands in this. So there is really no right or wrong way to meditation. Find what works best for you. Um, so I usually sit with my palms flat on my knees, and I'll sit there and I'll just be focusing on my breathing. And it's some people may find it tedious. In the beginning, I sure did, especially as someone who has a fast-paced mind,
who used to live in a big city and is so used to compression and large crowds and lots of chatter. Meditation felt very alien for me in the beginning, but over time I've learned to embrace it. Um, Especially ever since I moved from Nashville and I live now in a way more, which I'm very grateful for that. That's another strategy too, and it might. I mean, some people may be able to pull it off, others won't. But the best thing ever to overcome your addiction is move away from wherever you live and go somewhere new and explore and meet new people that don't do drugs. That's like the best thing that I feel that has done wonders for my recovery is moving out of Nashville. Like since I moved out of Nashville, I feel happier. Like I not only that, not only do I feel happier, I have more confidence and I feel more proud. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's because when you're in the city it makes you feel small. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but let's just say that it's doing wonders for my recovery and I'm sticking to it. And so yes, meditation. Now, meditation is like a paradox. You would think that such a simple task as sitting down and just closing your eyes and breathing would be simple, but it's actually very complex and intricate. And people have been studying it for years, and I still don't fully understand it. I remember this one time when I was working at a nursing home. I was working as a nutrition's aide. They actually, well, they would have events for the seniors, for the patients that were in the nursing home. And sometimes a priest would come by, like an evangelical priest, someone basically a Jesus Christ cheerleader, someone who just uh, I always have a hard time saying this word proselytizes, someone who just preaches, just basically they're reading a script, but they're doing it in a very charismatic manner, and some people find it enlightening. I don't know. I think it's a gimmick. I see right through it. Like especially someone who has done public speaking, there's really there's nothing magical going on. It's just a person reading from a book, an ancient book too, that is full of ugliness and promotes slavery and child sacrifices. And I know what you're gonna say, but that's the Old Testament. But if you read Sermon on the Mount, Jesus comes to say that he didn't come to change the word of God; he came to enforce it. That and now you're allowed to eat shellfish. So those are the only two things that changed in the New Testament. There's really no difference between them. And also, if you're going to outrule the Old Testament, then you have to get rid of the book of Genesis and the book of Exodus, where the Ten Commandments come in. So, yes, the Old Testament still stands. I'm sorry, Christian apologist. But, anyways, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, anyways, at the nursing home, right? They would have events for the seniors, and this one time there was a young woman, because I'm such an old man. No, yeah, there's this young girl came and she was teaching the patients meditation, and I was on my break and I actually followed along with her instructions, and we meditated for 20 to 30 minutes. That was the first time I ever did that, and I had a moment. I had a really deep, profound awakening. I can't even explain it. It was something more powerful than drugs. It wasn't. I think that's one of the reasons that I started using drugs was because I was searching for more. Sort of like when I was a boy and I was so unsatisfied with the radio, with radio stations. I wanted more. I wanted a variety. I wanted, more music. But yes, I remember that day. That and I've never felt like that before. And I've been doing meditation. Some people say that it takes years to possibly achieve that. I don't know if it's like a little hint of what the Buddha called it nirvana or whatever it was, but it's basically while I was meditating, I sort of felt like the best way I could explain it, like if I left my body. I mean, sounds cliche, but that's the best way I could explain it. It was just deep and profound, and I've never been able to achieve that again. And but either way, the things that I'm doing, they seem to work. Like I have no desire anymore to smoke, and I know I said that the last time, but the last time I don't feel like I was fully cured. I think this time I am. And oh yeah, another technique, another strategy too that I forgot. So okay, let's go ahead and sort of go over what we talked about. A nutrition plan, breathing techniques, breathing exercises, meditation. Also, you might want to start doing a little of exercise. Me, I personally love to walk. You might want to start walking, and when you finish your walk, and I don't know how I didn't think of this before, why I'm really thinking of all this now. After you finish your exercise routine, whatever it is, walking, swimming, I don't know what you're into, basketball, it could be anything as long as you stay active and you keep your mind off of drugs and stress and problems. Um, After you're done doing your physical activity, look at the sky. Lie down and look at the sky. I don't know if you could use a yoga mat, maybe the area where your grass is clean. I use a trampoline. And I actually had a really bad fall at one of those trampoline parks, which I think is geared towards single moms and bumpkins. And it's like a zoo in there. It smells so bad, and it's just a bunch of little kids jumping all over the place. I've always sort of stayed weary of trampolines, but lying down on a trampoline on your back and just look at the clouds, look at the sky as it travels. And like I said, these are all my personal strategies, and if they don't work for you, I'm sorry, but I'm sharing this with you, especially my subscribers. Um, I'm sharing all this new stuff with you, and I hope it works, and I hope you find peace, whoever you may be. And also, I really would appreciate a little bit of input, whether it be criticism or whatever. I would really appreciate a little bit of subjectivity. I wouldn't mind hearing from you guys. But thanks for bearing with me and watching my show. You're much appreciated. Thank you. And thank you for being part of my journey.
Whoops, you know what the music means. Our time is up.